Hi guys! Say hi on the chat. I'd love to see your names. I'd love to know who's online with us tonight. Hi Jen! Poolside yoga today, yes. I decided that I was going to teach outside today. I needed some sunshine, I needed some fresh air, and so we're going to change the environment a little bit. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and get started because I have a lot planned for us today. Just a couple of things before we get going. I am outside and there's a lot of things that are outside of my control. For example, my dogs might be running around, or a truck might drive by and make some noise, or an airplane might fly overhead, as it is right now because I said it. And I think we're just going to go with the flow tonight, and I think that's the theme actually, is learning to kind of let go of that control and just be present in the moment and take it as it is. So if you want to listen to music, I did put a playlist in the YouTube live chat, so that's available to you if you want to get that all set up. And if you just want to listen to my voice tonight and no music at all, that's totally cool too. One other message that I'd like to share, often we try to talk about practicing safely in yoga, and so we will often say as yoga teachers to listen to your body, to do what works for you, and so I definitely want to emphasize that again as we work through some arm balances today. But what I would also like to talk about before we get going is there has been an uptick in different groups, coming into Zoom classes and YouTube classes, and so should anyone start to engage on the chat tonight and say maybe not so nice things, just ignore it. Stay present in your practice. We don't need to be distracted by that. We don't need to engage with it. It's not the time, it's not the place. So focus on being practiced. Be here on the mat. All right. If you have blocks available to you, I encourage you to have those by your side. We're going to use them for our peak pose today, which is Eka Pada Bujapidasana. And so some people will call that elephant trunk pose. Some people might call it one-legged insect. I think in Sanskrit it actually translates to one-legged pressure pose. And so we'll kind of build up to that today. I'm excited to show you this one if you haven't tried it yet, and we'll go ahead and get started. So if you'd like to join me in the music today, let's go ahead and hit play. So I encourage you to find a nice, easy seated position at the top of your mat this morning, or this evening. Woof, it's been a long week. Maybe crisscross applesauce. Maybe you find a half lotus or a full lotus. Choose what's going to work best for you as we start to get settled in. Make sure that we're really grounding down equally through the hips. Bring your hands to your knees. If you are looking for a little more energy, you can turn your palms up to the sky to receive that energy, or you can turn your palms down on your knees if you would like to hold on to your energy. So we're going to be here for a few minutes. The first few minutes of our class today are to help us set that intention around releasing control, about coming into this present moment. If you're listening to the music, if you're following along on that playlist, please feel free to repeat that song, that message, that mantra, that chant, that song. Feel free to sing if you would like to try that. The vibrations starting in the diaphragm and working up through the chest really help us get focused in our practice. So I really encourage you to listen to the words and speak along with the song. As we get settled in, start to bring the shoulders over the hips, grow a little bit taller here. Relax our shoulders, let them drop down from the ears. Take a deep breath in through the nose for 3, 2, 1, and big exhale for 3, 2, 1. Big inhale for 3, 2, 1. Extend the exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep breathing on your own. Lengthen the exhales. Start to really come into this moment, this present moment, letting go of any thoughts that may be entering your brain. Let go of the day. Let go of the week. Let go of anything that you may be carrying with you into this practice. In this moment, you don't need to bring all of that baggage with you. We can let it go. We can put it to the side, and we can work on just being. Keep breathing through this. I'm going to cue you to move into another pose. We're going to spend some time in that pose and continue breathing. If you would like to stay in your Sukhasana pose or your half lotus, please feel free. If you'd like to join me, we're going to move into a butterfly position. So we're going to bring the feet together. We're going to press the outside edges of our feet into the mat and let the knees come down to the sides. If this is a little bit much for you early in the practice, we can of course take some blocks, put them underneath our knees for a little bit of support here. Maybe some pillows, maybe some books if that's what you have available at home. As we do this, I want you to continue to grow tall here. Have your shoulders right over your hips. Keep reaching the crown of the head up, up, up towards the sky, towards the ceiling. Long, deep breaths here. Stay here if you wish, or if you'd like to join me, you can start to bring the chest forward, walking the fingertips forward, 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 towards the top of the mat. Maybe reaching the hands a little bit more, bringing the chest forward and down towards the ground. Drop the head here, really just let go. Start to walk your hands back towards your feet, shoulders over hips. Bring the knees in together. Let's go ahead and extend our legs nice and long in front of us. Again, you can stay in your seated position if you'd like for this initial moment. I'm just giving you a few extra stretches here to set up for our practice today. Totally optional. Bend the right knee, bringing the foot towards the glutes, and then take that right foot over the left thigh. Awesome. We're going to go into a gentle twist from here. Inhale the left arm up, 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 reach, 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 and then you're going to take the hand over the knee, so the opposite knee. As we do this, we're going to take our right hand behind us, and we're going to turn our gaze towards that back hand. As we do this, you can totally keep this twist gentle here, but with each exhale, see if you can maybe go a little bit deeper in the twist. Big inhale, let's take the hands, both of them up overhead. We'll take the right leg and extend it long in front of us. And let's set up on the other side. So exhale, we'll bring that left knee in towards the body, foot towards the glute, and then take the left foot over the right thigh. Press the foot firmly into the ground, but make sure the hips are really both balanced here on the ground. We don't want our left hip lifting away. So settle in with the hips here. Right hand reaches up, and then go ahead and bring it across the body. Take the left hand behind you, use it as a little bit of a kickstand, and start to turn your gaze over that back shoulder. Again, don't go too crazy with this twist. We're just kind of getting started in our practice today. Deep breaths, guys. And let's come back to center, hands up overhead, extend the left leg in front of you. And then exhale, start to reach towards the ankles here. Again, keep this gentle, we're kind of just getting going. As we do this, start to bring the chest forward, and then start to bring the chin towards the chest. We don't necessarily need to be reaching for the feet at this point and pulling and trying to stretch. We're just kind of getting warmed up. I did want to mention that I'll be checking the YouTube chat if you have any questions that you'd like to ask me throughout the practice. I'll actually turn my screen back on so I can make sure that I'm watching it. I'd love to answer your questions, and so please feel free to use that feature. All right, big inhale, start to come back up, shoulders over hips. We're gonna start to get moving now. So I want you to take the feet, sweep them behind you. Find a quick little tabletop. So we're gonna have our shoulders over our wrists, and we're gonna start to turn our wrists out towards the sides. And I want you to make some big circles here. Start moving the chest in a big circle over the wrists. So we're telling our wrists, hey, I'm gonna put some weight on you. So I want you to warm up. I'm gonna start to engage you in a little bit. And then let's shift directions over to the left side, big circles. Awesome. Meet knee in the center, and we're going to turn our fingers all the way back towards the knees. So fingers are pointed towards the knees, and if you'd like a little bit extra here, you can start to bring the hips back, bring the shoulders back. And eventually you're going to find that sweet spot where you're like, yep, there's that stretch. Find it. Now find the edge here. We don't want any kind of pain. We don't want any nervy, angry, this hurts pain. But we do want to challenge ourselves with a little bit of a stretch here. And then walk the fingers back towards the center. One more little exercise here. So I want you to press firmly through the fingertips and the knuckles here. As we do this, I want you to lift the thumbs away from the ground. See if you can get the thumbs up, up, up. And then disconnect the knuckles away from the mat. So we're lifting and keeping the fingertips engaged, but the knuckles are lifting up. Thumbs are up, up, up. Awesome. Bring the knuckles back down, but hold those thumbs ups. Yeah, there we go. Lift the knuckles up. Bring them down. Thumbs up, guys. One more time. Bring them down. Now I want you to move through this faster, so give me 10, 9, 8, 7, there's that burn, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, you can do this, 1, oh yes, go ahead, sit back, shake out the hands, lots of wrist action today. Okay. So let's keep moving. So come back to that tabletop. And as we move into our poses, especially our planks and our down dogs, I want to remind you, keep the knuckles engaged. Knuckles and fingertips, but really think about those knuckles today. All right. Let's go ahead and tuck our toes, lift our knees away from the mat, bring the hips up high, up and back. We're going to bring our ears towards our biceps and let our heart melt down towards the mat. Release the neck. Take several deep breaths here. Maybe start to walk out your dog if you need a little bit of movement. Awesome. Bending the knees, let's lift the heels away from the ground, and I want you to look up at your hands. Hold here, start to engage the belly, pull the belly up towards the spine. You've got this, look at your hands, and then step or jump to the top of your mat. Inhale, nice half lift, so our hands are at our shins. I want you to pull the crown of the head towards the top of the mat, pull forward, 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 and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, start to come up to a standing pose, bringing the hands up overhead. Reach, 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 grow a little bit taller here. And then exhale, lion's breath as we bend through the elbows. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive, down, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to mat, step or jump back to your plank, your choice. And then you can drop the knees or pull up through the core, bending through the elbows, chaturanga, driving that chest forward. And then inhale, rise up to your up dog, your Urdhva Mukha. And then exhale, roll the hips up and back, down dog, Adho Mukha. What are those knuckles doing? What are those fingertips doing? I hope they're engaged, guys. Keep breathing through this. Let that heart just melt down towards the ground. All right, one more time. Come up high on the toes, bend the knees, look up at your hands, step or jump, top of your mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise up, hands overhead. Exhale, bending through the elbows, lion's breath. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to mat, step or jump back, plank, bending through the elbows, chaturanga. Rise up to your up dog, Urdhva Mukha. Press it back. Adho Mukha, down dog. All right, guys, I want you to come down on your knees for just a moment. Find a child's pose. We have got a lot of work to do. And so I will just mention as we get ready for the next part of our salutations that we're going to do what is more of a traditional Sun B salutation today. I do not teach this very often, but I felt inspired to kind of take things back to basics with a lot of the chaos that's going on in the world right now. So we're going to explore that Sun B salutation. We're going to be doing a lot of chaturangas, so please feel free to drop down to the knees if that's a lot for you, or you can always meet us in down dog. So let's find that tabletop and then press it back to a down dog. Come up high on the toes, bend through the knees, step or jump forward. Inhale, rise up, hands overhead. Big lion's breath. Inhale, arms up. And then exhale, bring your hands down to heart center. And we're gonna get set up to get going on those sun Bs. So bring your hands down by your sides, palms forward. Our big toes are together, our heels are slightly apart. We're really engaging the quads here, lifting up through the knees, dropping our shoulders down, 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 but still growing tall, tall, tall. So we're gonna call this our reset pose, our samastita hi. All right, inhale, arms up overhead, and I want you to bend through the knees. Oh, here we are in our chair pose. We've been here before, right? I want you to drop your shoulders here and move that weight in towards the back of the heels. Really engage through that core, guys, and then look up at your hands. Your hands can be here, fingers apart, or if you like, bring them to prayer. Take a look up. It's a lot on the shoulders, but it's a pretty good stretch. Whatever you do, keep shining that heart. All right, exhale, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, hands to mat, step or jump back to your plank. Chaturanga, bend through the elbows. Inhale, rise up. Urdhva Mukha. Exhale, Adho Mukha. All right, we're gonna take our right foot, step it right behind that right wrist, and then spin down the back foot to a 45-degree angle. Rise up to your warrior one, your Virabhadrasana A. All right, hands can be apart, hands can be at prayer, your choice. As we do this, I want you to square off the hips towards the top of the mat, and I want you to feel like the heels are driving together. So much energy is happening between the heels. All right, find your warrior one, and then bring the hands back down towards the mat. So I'm bringing my right hand in front of my right foot, and then step it back to plank. Chaturanga, rise up, Urdhva Mukha. Press it back, exhale, Adho Mukha. Step the left foot behind the left wrist. Spin down the back foot, 45. Rise up to warrior one on the other side. Check in with those hips. Feel the heels pulling together under the body. So much energy there, guys. Keep bending through that front knee. And then bring the hands back down towards the mat. So my left hand is in front of my left foot. Step it back to plank. Chaturanga. Rise up, up dog. Press it back. Down dog. Take a couple of breaths. Deep, long breaths here, guys. Traditionally, we do 5 slow breaths. Give me 2 more. Really connect here. Press the knuckles into the ground. Cool. Lift the heels away from the mat. Bend through the knees. Jump it forward or step. And rise up to your chair pose. So we're bending through those knees. Hands up overhead. Awesome. Bring your hands down by your sides as we come up to a standing pose. Samastita hi, our standing pose or reset. Let's move through that a little bit faster, guys. Inhale, hands up overhead. Exhale, come into that chair pose. Hold it here for just a moment. Inhale, reach, reach, reach through the hands. Exhale, forward fold, hands to mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, jump it back or step, chaturanga. Rise up, Urdhva Mukha. Press it back, Adho Mukha. Step the right foot behind the right wrist, spin down the back leg. Rise up, warrior one. Exhale, hands to mat, step it back, plank. Chaturanga. Rise up, press it back, down dog. Left foot forward. Set up for warrior one on the other side. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to mat. Step it back, plank. Chaturanga. Rise up to your up dog, Urdhva Mukha. Press it back, Adho Mukha. 5 breaths. Check in here with the body. Let the heart melt down towards the mat. Pressing firmly through the fingertips, through the knuckles. One more deep breath. Come up high on the toes, bend the knees, look up at your hands, step or jump forward. Rise up, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Rise up, bending through the knees, bring your hands up overhead, set up for your chair pose. Holding here for just a moment. I really want you to build a little bit of strength here. Press that weight back into the heels. Just another breath. You've got this, guys. I know. Come up to standing, hands by your side. Samastitihi. Yeah, all right. You know what? We got time for one more. Inhale. Arms up high. Exhale. Come down to that chair pose. Inhale. Lift up through the hands. Exhale. Forward fold. Inhale. Half lift. Exhale, jump it back, step it back, plank to chaturanga. Urdhva Mukha, rise up. Exhale, Adho Mukha. Right foot forward, behind the wrist, set up, warrior one. Inhale, rise up. Bend through that knees, guys. Exhale, hands to mat. Step it back, plank, chaturanga. Rise up, up dog. Press it back. Down dog. Left leg forward behind the wrist. Set up for warrior one on the other side. Bend through that front knee. Hands up overhead. Exhale, hands come down. Step the left foot back. Plank. Chaturanga. Rise up. Press it back, down dog. 5 deep breaths here, guys. 4, 3, 2, 1. Come up high on the toes. Step or jump forward to the top of your mat. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, bending through the knees, hands overhead, chair pose. Holding it here, building some strength, building some fire. And then straighten through the legs, come up to standing, hands down by your side. Let's bring our hands to heart center. Start to slow down the breath, reconnect with the breath a little bit. Even some of these very traditional flows still have so much to offer us. So much that we can learn about them, especially when we take things back to basics, we connect with the body, we check in with our alignment. We can always learn from them. A couple more deep breaths here. And let's bend through the knees, bring the hands down to the ground, setting up for a little bit of a toe stand for just a moment. So as we do this, I want you to squeeze the thighs together, build some pressure between those thighs and the ankles, and then see if you can maybe find some balance here. See if your shoulders can come over your hips. Keep squeezing, maybe lift the hips away from the heels just a little bit. If we're shaking like I am, that's a good signal. We're building some strength. All right, hands come down to the mat. Go ahead and bring everything down to a seated position. And I want you to find that butterfly pose one more time. So our feet are together, our knees are out to the sides. Now, if this is not enough for you and you really want to go to the next step to get a good stretch in here with our hips, which is going to be really important for the arm balance we're doing tonight, let's talk a little bit about some other options. So you can stay here in a butterfly pose, or we can move into a fire log pose. If we do this, our left leg is going to be parallel with the top of the mat, and we're going to see if we can bring our right leg directly on top of it. Now, I've built a lot of flexibility in my hips over the years, so it's not uncommon to be here, okay? So kind of play around with it a little bit and find that sweet spot. What I found I really want to encourage you is make sure the hips are equally grounded here and that we start to bring our shoulders over our hips. We don't want to be leaning forward too much yet. I just really want you to connect with the body and find that deep stretch in the hips first. So you really will be feeling this a lot on the right side. If this is too much, you know, you can always take that block underneath that right knee. But sit with this for just a moment. Really feel this. Couple more breaths here. And let's go ahead and switch out legs. So we'll take our right leg down to the mat parallel with the top. Take the left leg on top of it so that our heel is directly over our right knee. And then see if maybe we can bring that left knee down. Make sure the hips stay grounded here. Bring the shoulders over the hips. Breathe through this. Again, we want to find our edge here. We want to find that moment where it's really pushing us just enough, not to pain, but to where we feel like we're challenging ourselves. If we're feeling pain, we're going to back off. We're going to modify. We're going to use a block, or maybe we end up going back to that butterfly pose. Your choice here. Listen again to your body. All right. Let's go ahead and unwind here. So take the left leg off the top of the right leg. And let's sweep those legs behind us. Find our tabletop position one more time because we've got some more flowing to do. And I want you to lift your hips up and back. Find that down dog again. Take the right leg up to the sky. And I want you to bend the knee, pulling the heel towards the glutes. Lift, lift, lift that knee up towards the sky. And then check in with your shoulders. Make sure that they're nice and squared off here. We don't want our right shoulder lifting and our left shoulder dipping. Square them up. Keep squeezing, squeezing, squeezing that right foot towards the glutes. And then let's go ahead, square off the hips and start to bring that right foot forward, planting it behind our right wrist. So we did this earlier, right? We sat up for our warrior one. And as we do this, we spin down that back leg, and I want you to inhale, press up for your Virabhadrasana A. We're gonna do something a little bit different here, so I want you to exhale and bring the right hand down towards the mat. Again, if we need a block for a little bit of help here, there's no shame in that. Please use your props. Now, I want you to work on bringing this right shoulder towards this right knee. So we're doing a little bit of a dip here. Maybe we're working on it here. Maybe we're a little bit lower. Maybe we're really low. Find what's going to work for you today. Keep trying to drive that shoulder to connect with the knee. If you have a bind available to you, you can take your right arm underneath the right leg, swoop it behind you, and then take the left arm up overhead, connecting the hands. If you do this, I want you to pull the hands down, down, down towards the groin and then look up. So we're pulling the left shoulder back. A couple more breaths here. Release the bind if you've been holding that. And then inhale, come back up to your warrior one. Exhale, I want you to start to open up towards the side to a warrior two. Now, as we do this, a warrior two has a slightly different setup. So we're gonna take a wider stance and our back foot's gonna be at a 90-degree angle. It's not easy to move from a warrior one to a warrior two. In fact, a lot of teachers don't like to teach it, but we're kind of going traditional today. So let's go for it. So again, wider stance, back foot at 90-degree angle, keep bending through that front knee. As we do this, the hips are going to turn towards the side of the mat, and our arms are going to be out forward. There we go. Now inhale, arms up, extend the leg, the front leg. Exhale, come down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Inhale, up. Exhale, down, and hold. Now we're going to bend our right elbow, and we're going to take that elbow and place it onto our right thigh. As we do this, I'm going to challenge you. No weight is happening in this arm. We're not dumping into that right thigh. I really want this to be just a very light touch, feather touch that's happening here. Keep bending through that right knee. Pull that left shoulder back like we just practiced in that bind, and then take the arm up overhead. Reach, reach, reach through that left arm. So as I talked about, feather touch. This right arm is barely on this right leg, and we're lifting, lifting, lifting through that left arm. I know, our legs are on fire, guys. You've got this. And then come back up, warrior two. I want you to reverse your warrior. Keep bending through that front knee. Right arm goes back. Exhale, cartwheel the arms down to the ground. Spin up on that back foot. Right foot steps back to meet the left. Chaturanga, or meet me in down dog. Let's try that on the other side. So I want you to inhale, left leg high. Bending the knee, start to pull the heel towards the glutes. Check in with those shoulders, square them off. Keep squeezing, squeezing, squeezing. Squeeze, 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 you got this. And then square off the hips and take that left foot behind the left wrist. Spin down the back foot, warrior one on the other side. Awesome. Holding here for just a moment. Keep bending through that front knee. And then exhale, I want you to come forward, hands down towards the mat, and you have all of those options. So maybe we're here where our elbow just connects with the knee. Maybe we're able to come down a little bit more so our fingertips touch the floor. Maybe we're able to actually connect the shoulder towards the knee. If we're able to do this, feel free to explore that bind on the other side. Left arm will wrap behind us. Right arm will go up high and then behind, interlacing the fingers. Peace sign fingers usually work best for me. And then as we do this, pull the hands down, pull that right shoulder back, and then look up. Breathe through this, you got it. This is tough, guys, I know. One more deep breath. And then release the bind. If we're holding that, I want you to inhale, rise back up to your warrior one. Exhale, open up to your warrior two. So again, slightly wider stance, back foot 90-degree angle. We're bending through that front knee. Hands out parallel, drop the shoulders. Check in with the hips. Have them come out towards the side of the mat, not forward, to the side. There we go. Good adjustments, guys. I like talking to myself. I feel like I'm actually there with you. So just humor me. All right. Inhale, lift the arm high for a little bit of a reverse. And then exhale, I want you to bring the hand down, bending through the elbow, rest it gently on that left thigh. As we do this, extend the right arm high, and then reach, reach, reach through that right arm. Bend through that front knee, feather touch on that left elbow. Keep reaching, look up at your hand, look up, look up, look up. And then exhale, warrior two. Inhale, one more big reverse. I know that thigh's on thigh, we're building strength. And then chaturanga, cartwheel down to the ground, bending through those elbows. Rise up, up dog, and press back. Down dog. Drop down to the knees. Find a child's pose. Take a couple of deep breaths. You've got this. All right, I think we're ready to play a little bit. So as I mentioned, we're going to be working on our Eka Pada Bujapidasana. So our elephant trunk pose or our one-legged pressure pose. So let's talk a little bit about how to set up for something like that. So take the legs out in front of you, nice and long. And I want you to bend the right knee and pull it in towards the chest. Cool, all right. So now lift the right heel up so it's at a 90-degree angle with our knee. Cool. Now a couple of options here as we set up. I want you to take the left arm up overhead and then bring it over to the outside edge of that foot. Connect to the outside edge by the pinky toe. There you go. All right. So we can work on just pulling that knee back a little bit. There we go. And then I want you to take this right arm. You're gonna bring it underneath. If that's hard to do, another option is you just bring the knee up to a 90-degree angle and have this hand just kind of hold the foot, and then see if maybe you can start to work this hand underneath. So as you can see, the palm of my hand is supporting the shin and my elbow's connected to my thigh. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm gonna use that hand overhead, reaching for that pinky toe, just to help me like really work this leg up onto the shoulder. So we're wearing our leg like a backpack. Yeah, cool. All right. Now take that right hand, release it. Keep holding on the hand that's up by the foot. Take the right hand down to the ground. And so what we're gonna do is try to set up for an arm balance from here. And you're like, Elizabeth, this is too much. Are you kidding? What's going on? Point your right toe here, and then I want you to squeeze, 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 squeeze this leg onto the shoulder towards the midline. Squeeze with everything you've got. All right, now we worked on this a little bit last week. So what we're gonna do is start to drive the chest forward. So we're gonna come forward, big exhale, engage the core, and then lift up. Give it a try. If that's a lot and you got those blocks, I'll show you how to use those blocks on the left side. So this is like one of my favorite poses to play with because it's actually pretty accessible as long as you can like get into the hips and get the foot or the leg over the shoulder. And if you're like, Elizabeth, this is crazy, I can't do this right now, but arm balances are no problem for you, then I really encourage you to kind of come back to this fire log pose, maybe start working through anything like a pigeon pose that will kind of get you opened up in this area. So fire log is kind of my go-to when I'm doing this pose. So let's try it out on the left side. Right leg nice and long, go ahead and point the toes on that side. Pull the left knee in towards the chest. Okay. And then bring that leg up to a 90-degree angle. So another option here, if you kind of want to get into the hip, is you can use the left arm to connect with that left leg and kind of pull it back a little bit, kind of like an old school lawnmower. All right, let's go from there. So I'm gonna make sure my blocks are by my side, and I'm gonna actually turn them down to the lowest level for this. And there's my dog. Anyway, so as we go through this, we're gonna take our right hand up to the sky, and I'm gonna reach for my pinky toe across the body. Yeah, cool. My left arm is gonna thread underneath. So as I do this, I'm gonna take my hand supporting the leg. The elbow is pressing into the thigh here. I'm really getting that leg up as high as I can onto that shoulder. Cool, and then I'm gonna release that left hand, place it on a block. I'm going to squeeze, squeeze, squeeze towards the midline, and then I'm gonna lift, 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 lift up and forward, up and forward. And so those blocks give you a lot of really nice height to play with this. So as always, I encourage you to use blocks in your practice. It makes a big difference. It helps you understand like how to lift up and forward, especially in all of the arm balances that we've been practicing lately on our Thursday classes. So if you don't have blocks, please invest in them. Super fun. Okay, so We have a few more minutes, and I wanted to also give you guys the option to play a little bit with Tadasana. I know we ran out of time last time. We didn't get a whole lot of time to play with it, so we're gonna do that today, especially since our hips are nice and open. So as you may remember, we looked at Lolasana and Tadasana last week. So Lolasana was when our knees come up into our chest. I'm not super warmed up for this, but that one, right? And then Tadasana is where we can play with maybe a half lotus or a full lotus to do an arm balance. And so what we talked about last week was if you have a half lotus and can't quite get to that full lotus yet, you can still play with this pose. You might just have to work on, once you set up, squeezing that bottom leg up into the pose with you, or you can leave the foot connected to the ground. Let me show you what that looks like. So you could be here, blocks like this, and just see how I have that foot connected. So we're still learning how to start to bring that weight forward by holding the half lotus, and maybe we see if we can lift that bottom leg from the ground. So that's one way you can play with this. If you don't have blocks, it's still pretty accessible to play with. So we bring our hands down to the ground, bring our chest forward, lift the hips away from the ground, and that bottom foot was still connected to the ground. So give that a try at home. And if you want to try for full Tadasana, if you have that half lotus, or that full lotus I should say, available to you, you can give that a try. I definitely like to use my blocks for this one, so I have my blocks up by my knees so that I can inhale, grow tall, exhale, chest forward, start to engage that core, and then press, 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 lifting the legs away from the ground. And if you do this, I want you to hold it for 5 breaths. So let's do that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and down. All right, Stella, no, don't drink from the pool, silly. Okay, if we were in that lotus, let's go ahead, unwrap our legs, extend them long in front of us. We have done a lot of work today. And we're gonna revisit a pose from earlier in the class today to kind of see what's changed. So I want you to inhale, arms up overhead. Reach, reach, reach. And then exhale, bending at the waist, driving that chest forward. This time, feel free to grab the outside edges of your feet. Maybe have peace fingers around the big toes, where we're bending through the elbows and pulling our chest towards our thighs. Connect, connect, connect the chest to the thighs if that's available to you. And then drop the chin towards the chest. Relax the neck. Keep breathing. For 5, 4, keep pulling, 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 bending through the elbows. 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and release that. Shoulders over hips. Good job, guys. All right. I think we have time for a little bit of a back bend, and then we'll go into maybe a shoulder stand from there. So if you want to play with the back bend today, we'll take our feet hips width distance apart. I'm going to turn this way so you guys can see me a little bit better. And we're going to roll down one vertebrae at a time, dropping our heads down to the ground. As we do that, take your hands right next to the body, press the palms firmly into the ground, and see if you can maybe walk the feet in a little bit closer towards the glutes. And then on your next inhale, lift your hips up towards the sky, up towards the ceiling. Keep lifting, keep lifting, keep lifting. Breathe for 3, 2, 1. drop the hips down towards the ground. We'll go up into a bridge pose one more time. If wheel is in your practice, please feel free to explore that, whatever works best for you. Go ahead and on your next inhale, lift up. Holding here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then bring the hips down to the ground. Take a moment of rest. And so I'm checking in with my comments here on the live stream. And we have a comment, when I get up into the peak pose, my quad cramps in the straight leg. Is that a hip flexor thing? Any tips? So yes, I have noticed that when I started playing with this pose, because you really have to have the quad in order to do this pose. So it has to be super engaged, right? So I think I will do some research on that question. I will get back to you, but it is a lot on the quad in order to do this balance. And so I can totally resonate with you on that one. I will double check on it and see if I can come up with any options on how to help you with that. My guess is stretching out the quad before doing this pose may help you. And so some of the things that we could look into is that maybe that half hero pose. So where we take the foot down by the glutes, knee is pressed firmly into the ground to protect the knee. And you can go into a full hero pose where both feet are back to really kind of stretch out the quads. So that might be an option as you start to work through this arm balance. But I'll get back to you. All right, so I think we have time for a shoulder stand, guys, which is one of my favorite things to do in yoga. I'm gonna go ahead and turn around this way so that I can join you in this. So in our shoulder stand, go ahead, roll all the way down to the mat and take your legs up towards the ceiling. Extend, extend, extend through the legs. And then I want you to have your hands planted firmly into the ground to help you as you lift the hips. And you're going to take the hands behind the hips to support you for that supported shoulder stand. I will turn around so that you can see my arms if you want to get a better sense of what that looks like. As we do that, I want you to squeeze the thighs, squeeze the knees, squeeze the ankles together. Pulling the chin away from the chest. That's super important. So as we're working through this pose, as we're trying to gain some height here, stacking everything in line, I want you to pull the chin away from the chest. All right, we'll go to a plow pose from here. So start to bring the toes down towards the ground, up overhead. Maybe release the lower back, bringing the hands down to the ground, and then interlacing the fingers behind you. Then I'll turn around to demonstrate from all directions. So we interlace our fingers, we press the pinkies down into the mat. Couple more breaths. 3, 2, 1. And then start to roll slowly back towards the top of the mat, bringing your legs down to the ground. Awesome. So bring the feet together, let the knees come out to the sides. So we've been in a butterfly pose a couple times today. But this time we're going to do a Supta Baddha, so we're going to do this on our back. And as we do this, I want you to notice the difference from the beginning of class. What feels more open in the body? What feels good in the body? Release the lower back here. Let go of any tension you might have in the shoulders. Bring the hands down by the side of the body and turn the palms up towards the ceiling. Start to slow down the breath here. Start to reflect on what feels different in the body from the beginning of practice. And then bring the knees together. Pull the right knee in towards the chest. There we go. Extend the left leg long. And then I want you to take that right knee across the side of the body. Extend the right arm out to a T. And then turn your gaze over towards the right hand. Keep breathing through this. For 3, 2, 1. Pulling the right knee in back to center, starting to come onto our backs, and then we will switch out the legs, extending the right leg nice and long as we pull the left knee in towards our chest. And then take the right hand, place it on that left knee, and then pull it across the body. Left arm extends nice and long as we look out over the left hand. A few more breaths. For 3, 2, and 1. Roll back to center. Extend both legs nice and long. Start to take up some space on your mat. Let the legs be nice and wide here. Let them be heavy. Let the toes turn out to the sides. Continue to slow down the breath and start to close the eyes. Check in with that lower back. See if you can release any tension you might be holding there. And then start to turn your attention towards the top of the body. Check in with those shoulders. Feel the release happening. Release the jaw, the tongue, the little space between our eyebrows. Deep breaths here. And this is the part where we let go of the practice. This practice has forever changed you. You'll never be the same. And so thank yourself for that. But this is also the part of the practice where we let go of any frustrations that we may have had. We let go of any achievements that we may have found. We let go of the ego. We let go of the thoughts. And we come into this present moment. And as we do this, we are not necessarily clearing the mind, but we are becoming more connected with our life. We're becoming more connected with this moment. And hopefully we're starting to realize how we are all connected as people. Now all living beings are connected. To your intention from the beginning of class. We talked about learning how to let go, to surrender our control, our need for control, and to learn to be present in our lives. And let's start to roll over towards our right side, finding a fetal position. Taking our left hand down towards the ground, we'll use it to support us as we press back up to a seated position, finding ourselves at the top of our mats. Let's keep our eyes closed here. And then bring our hands to heart center. Rather than trying to change or control or fight the things that don't make sense to us, know that you will always win if you surrender to love. Namaste. It was my pleasure to lead you through your practice today. I hope you enjoyed it. I love your questions. I will check in on that question and get back to you, Jen. It's always so much fun to try to show you guys new things and try to grow your practice. So I really love that you take the time to join me on these Thursday classes, and I look forward to seeing you in the near future. Namaste.